Hi everybody, getting my stuff set up. Just a sec. There we go. How are you guys doing today? Let me check my sound, make sure we're okay. Yep, sounds good. Okay, so this is a special presentation that I put together for my AutoBot Flutter download. I need to make one quick amendment to my manual. I forgot to mention, if you're in the UK and you want to use my AutoBot, you're going to have to contact me. I have a special UK version of it. It's really a matter of it entering in the 44 code. And then there's other countries that require it. Let me put a little change here real quick. No, that's too big. If you are not in the US and want to use the Flutter email, and I will accommodate you. Okay, that's all I need to do. File, save it as my PDF file. Then re-upload it. Okay, so how's everybody doing today? Nice Valentine's Day for everybody. So look, we got 11 people, 16 people actually. Hi, Arun. Okay, I'm going to turn my okay, so basically my AutoBot is now downloadable. If you go to the link in the description, you're going to see this file here. It's my AutoBot Flutter manual. And it's pretty easy to follow. I've added terms and conditions if you haven't seen it yet. Basically, the terms are very basic in terms of what I expect out of you if you use the Flutter. All I ask is that you act responsibly and be aware that it's however you use it, you're responsible for its operation. Call flooding is kind of a touchy subject. It's technically not legal, but there's not much really they can do if you're call flooding places like in India or things like that. That's the whole gist of it. I've been flooding with my call flutter for over a year now, and it's great. I mean, you've seen it in action on my channel, and it's a sight to behold. And if you use it responsibly, you can do a lot of good because, like I've done, and we'll do that today. If there's any tech support scammers, we'll take out some numbers, and I'll show you how quick and easy it really is. Okay, to start with, the other thing that's important, to be able to use the AutoBot, you have to be a basic member of my YouTube channel or a subscriber to my Twitch channel. The reason why I'm needing that is I can't just let anyone use the AutoBot. I also have a kill switch if I have to, where the AutoBot will not work. It's just for everyone's protection. I'll explain more on what you can expect if you download and use it, on what my intentions are going to be over the next couple of months as I improve the AutoBot and make it to where I can guarantee that, you know, only members can use it, things like that. You don't know what Twitch is, Paranormal? Twitch is a streaming service. Twitch TV. Go to twitch.com and you'll see what I mean. I stream on YouTube Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I stream on Twitch Tuesdays and Thursdays. Some people really like doing Twitch. It's just type www.twitch.com. You can see it. Okay, so let's get started. Here's the AutoBot manual. If you look at it, it's got the links right here. There's AutoBot Master Dialer and AutoBot Zip that you need to download. What you will get is what I have over here. 2 zip files. What I've done on my drive, I created a folder called Call Flood, and then I downloaded AutoBot Zip and Master Dialer.zip from those 2 links. Okay, so Master Dialer is the first one I'm going to extract. I'm going to right-click it. I'm going to go to 7-zip and open it. It's got a folder called Master Dialer. I'm going to drag it in. And it asks you for a password, which I'll give you in an email. It'll take some time to extract. Basically, Master Dialer is a virtual machine. It's the virtual machine template that you base your actual dialers off of, and I'll show you that here in a moment. It's a 2 gig download. Okay. Now this stream will remain up for those who missed the stream or need to go back and rewatch it. Did you have a question, Graham? What I did is I extracted Master Dialer to the Call Flood folder. And next I'm going to go into AutoBot and I'm going to open it. And I'm going to extract these files to the Call Flood folder. That's fine, Walter. Like I said, I'm going to keep it. Reviewable. It's also in my playlist. Our Scammers 101. Okay, so after you extract it, you can optionally delete the zip files or move them somewhere. I'm going to create an archive folder. You might want to do that and then move AutoBot Zip and Master Zip into it. It's up to you. Now there's some important things in here that you're going to want to use. If you email me, look in my manual. If you email me and give me the German dialing rules, I could actually create a German dial bot. It wouldn't be that hard. I just need to know how to dial a SIP number in Germany. So it'll take some work, but I'd be willing to build one for you. Okay, so mouse locator. Let me shrink everything. I'm going to show you what I use them for. Mouse locator is a great little program. It just tells you where your mouse coordinates are. Very useful to have. So if I put my mouse at the very top corner, it'll say 0, 0. Just put it in the lower right hand corner. Very useful for doing automation. AutoIT 3 setup. AutoIT is a scripting language. It's nice to have. If you want to learn AutoIT, I will be hosting member streams on AutoIT programming. I'll show you an example of what AutoIT does. Like here's a quick and dirty one. So if I create a script and I want it to pop up a hello box, type message box, hi from Ray, and then you save it. We'll call it hello. Oh, I had one called hello already. Message. So if I run it, it says hello, hi from Ray. That's what AutoIT is. I use AutoIT as what makes the AutoBot dialer possible, because it can control program. Okay, so I got to keep an eye on the chat. I'm going to move my YouTube chat over to another window so I can keep an eye on it while I do my presentation. It'll make things easier for me. Let's see if I can pop chat out. Yeah, that'll make things easier. Size it. Perfect. And then I'm going to zoom in. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so back to what we were doing. Okay, so as long as you extract your folder like this, you'll be in good shape. It's really important that this USA Floodomatic.exe be in the same directory as that scripts folder. So just watch my instructions carefully. And if you have questions, you can always email me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a shortcut to my desktop for the Floodomatic. So you're going to right-click it, go to Send to, Desktop Create Shortcut, and it'll create a shortcut for you so you can launch it. When you run it, it's going to give you this screen here. Now a time may come when I've decided to release version 2.0 of the Floodomatic. You're going to get a screen like this. Let me go over here. I'll just give you a simulation of what it will be like. Okay. Future versions of my AutoBot Flutter are going to have an automatic update checker. I know how to do it. I've done it before with other programs I've written. Hold on, wrong one. Okay, so for when I'm ready to release the next version, which should be soon, I've got more time on my hands now that I don't stream on the weekend. When I'm ready to release it, you're going to go to run the AutoBot, and oh, now it's doing that again. Let me update that. Save the file. There we go. Okay, so when you run it, it'll say contact Waterpaw Hookers for a required update. Okay, so don't freak out if you go to run it and you get that. All that means is I have a new version of the AutoBot for you to download, and it's going to be a quick download. USA Floodomatic is only 942 kilobytes, so it'll be a quick download when I release that. Back to my temp folder. I don't know. Okay, now I'm going to re-enable it so that we can continue the training. Okay, so now when we run the Floodomatic, we're going to get the Floodomatic GUI. Okay? So, let's get started. Back to our task at hand. Okay, what I've done is I've created a call flood folder on it's on one of my solid state drives called call flood, and I have a master dialer virtual machine. So what I'm going to do with my VMware workstation is I'm going to open it on X call flood master dialer, and then I'm going to power it up. VMware yells at you if you move things around, just tell you moved it, and it'll boot up. I do plan to. I mean, you can actually run this virtual machine on VirtualBox. It's not really that difficult. I'll create a VirtualBox version of it just to make it easy for people. But I'll show you what you have to do. I mean, there's a key component in the setup that you have to make in order for the Flood-O-Matic to work. So once again, this is the folder structure. You have the master dialer virtual machine, and then you have USA Flood-O-Matic, which I have running right here. Okay. Now, one thing that's real important is that you don't use the master dialer to do your botting, but I just wanted to boot it up to show you. It has everything in here that's ready for doing call flooding. One thing to notice, the host name of this computer is dialer0. So you can't even use it to flood if you wanted to because it doesn't have the right host name. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shut down this AutoBot, or shut down the master dialer. I provide a restart icon and a shutdown icon to make it easy to shut down. Okay, and then this is where it's now time to start creating the actual dialer bots. And the way you do that is you go to VM, Manage, and Clone. You're going to do the current state, really can't do anything, and you're going to do a full clone. And you want to call the clone dialer1. And you want to put it in the same folder as the call flood for the dialer. So you'll be able to rewatch this later. I also have screenshots inside of my PDF file. So what this is doing is it's literally it'll create a folder called dialer1. So right now we only have master dialer. When I create this clone, you're going to see a dialer1 folder. See it right there? What it's doing is it's creating a clone of the master dialer virtual machine and calling it dialer1. For virus protection, I don't use anything but Windows Defender. And I highly recommend, let me go to my chat real quick. Okay, so I use Windows Defender, but I also recommend Malwarebytes 2.2. It's free and effective. If you have to have antivirus, I tend to recommend Bitdefender. I have friends of mine that use it, and it seems to be pretty good. I don't use real-time antivirus scanning because it slows down. You can lose 20% of your CPU just on certain operations. But it comes at a risk. You have to really know what you're doing. Stay away from, you might want to go as far as to browse websites with a virtual machine. Thanks, Fred. Okay, so back to where we are. We've just cloned the master dialer, and now we're going to boot it. We're going to boot up dialer1, and it's really basic. It's going to boot up the same way that the master dialer did, but there's some things you got to do to it. One, we got to change its host name. We're going to basically open up the Explorer, go to Computer, Property, Advanced System Setting, Computer Name, and then Change the dialer 0 to a dialer 1. Windows is going to yell at you because it doesn't like that naming convention, but that's okay. Just click on OK and then restart. After you do all that, that dialer is now ready to take phone calls. So I'm going to show you well, actually, I'm going to step ahead of myself. Before that dialer can take help desk calls, we got to program its SIP dialer in order to do the phone calls. So here's dialer 1, it's booted. It's almost ready to be used. Make sure the internet's going to work. What I'm doing is opening from, yeah, the internet's working. It takes a couple of seconds for that little network icon to show that you have internet access. Thanks, GLC. Thanks for the positive comment. I appreciate it. Okay, so before we can do anything, we have to configure the SIP dialer. The other thing you want to check is make sure you can hear the virtual machine. So you're going to launch Voicemeeter Banana and wait for it to initialize, and then hit some buttons. See how you can hear that? Just make sure you can hear it. If you can't, down here there's a speaker icon. Right-click it, go to the volume mixer, make sure nothing's muted. Sometimes Windows will mute those things. Okay, so right now there's no phone, there's no SIP accounts programmed on this SIP dialer, so we got to add them. Okay. What I recommend you do, voip.ms is the SIP provider I use. There's another one that I might be recommending soon, because it's called Kelnix. There's another really good one. Basically, voip.ms is what I use because it's easy. It's easy to set up and it's not really hard. Let me show you some examples. I'm gonna log in to voip.ms. I did it. Let me try that again. That's not it. I have another one. Okay. Okay, so when you're at voip.ms, what you need to do is you need to set up an account with them. You then need to add funds to it, and an example would be $15. That's the least you can add. So if I go to add funds, the smallest amount you can give them is $15. I'll get into more information about what it costs to use voip.ms, but it's not that expensive. Over a 6-month period of heavy AutoBot dialing, I average about $9 in charges. So, I mean, AutoBot flooding isn't free, but it's pretty cheap if you use the right SIP provider. No, Norman, if you're non-US, you're better off with Telnix. Or if you know, there's SIP providers are all over the world. You want to pick one that's best for your country. Okay, anyways, you do have to fund the account, and then you do need to create sub-accounts, okay? I'm going to log into a different account. I'm going to log into the one that I'm going to be using to demonstrate this today, just so you can see what we have. So I've got to go over to my reference material, and we're going to log in as Emily. And so what I've done with voip.ms, it sounds crazy, but there's some reason behind it. I actually have 10 voip.ms accounts. And the reason is each voip.ms account by default will only allow you to place 2 simultaneous calls to the same phone number. So here's an example. If I wanted to have 6 AutoBot dialers or 6 calls going out simultaneously, I would have to set up 3 voip.ms accounts. Okay. Account 1 would have the SIP dialing accounts for machines 1 and 2. voip.ms account 2 would do 3 and 4, and 3 would be 5 and 6. The reason why it's like that, a VoIP provider like voip.ms or even Telnix or Twilio, you name it, they place restrictions on your ability to call out to the same phone number because they don't want to facilitate what we're doing, which is call flooding. And so my workaround is to have multiple accounts, each of which can do 2 simultaneous calls. What that looks like, I'm going to copy and paste something real quick and then show it to you. New. And I'm going to search and replace 17605, nothing. Wait. All. One, 2, 7, 1. Okay, there we go. So what I have here, I took off the first part of the account number so you won't see it. These are the sub accounts that I have under one voip.ms account. There are a total of 12. And what I do is I'll say, okay, these 6 will be on dialer 1, and these 6 will be on dialer 2. Okay, so let me look at something real quick. I'm going to go into here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a shortcut, but before I do any of that, I'm going to show you how to configure the SIP accounts. Okay. Back over to my reference material. Okay, so I have everything ready. Let me look at the chat, see if we have any questions. What operating system should I get the VIP phone in the VM? Now, if you download the AutoBot Flutter, you're getting a Windows 7 32 Lite. It's a specially configured version. Oh, what? Oh, for what, SIP? Well, the SIP phones run on Windows 7. I encourage microsip. It's a really thin, really easy, small program. Okay, so what I have here, I have the login information. We're going to program 6 SIP accounts for dialer 1, and the way you do that is you go here and tell it to add account, and I'm just going to copy and paste them. I put it into the account name, username, and login. And then I recommend, in fact, I pretty much tell you really need to go up here to the top and then change this and put dashes in so that its caller ID can be formatted properly. The reason for that is one of the call flutter operations, it has the ability to type in its, like the last 4 digits of its caller ID as a way to prevent you from flooding, but you can actually get through that with this call flutter. For the SIP server, you're going to want to use one that's closest to you, and for me it's Denver. So I put denver1.voip.ms, denver1.voip.ms, and then the account password. Each SIP account has a password, and it's important that you keep that documented. So when I hit OK, see how it says online here? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up a phone number real quick. I look up Travelation, because we're going to be calling Travelation with our call flutter today. Not heavily, because Travelation is not as much of a scam as it used to be. So the number is 858-256-7200. So what I'm going to do, I'm also going to open up Google Chrome, and I'm going to go to dictation.io. Dictation.io is what the call flutter uses to determine if the scammer has answered the phone. So I'm going to dial Travelation. I hit call. Watch what happens over here.
Thank you for calling Travelation. To reach the next available agent, please press 5.
Okay. So this AutoBot has the ability to know to push 5.5. So it's really cool. All right, so that shows us that we have a working SIP phone because we can make phone calls. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to go ahead and add another number, just as a reminder of how it's done. I'm grabbing the SIP account name, and I'll show you where you find that. That is found in your sub account. So I'm going to, okay, so these are sub accounts. That is where I'm getting that value from. If you go in and edit, you'll also see other things that are, like there's this caller ID. Notice the caller ID matches. So all I really need is the sub-account name and the password that I've given that sub-account. I will come back to here to show you how to create sub-accounts. It's not that hard. It's very simple, but it's going to be time consuming. Depends on how many AutoBots you want to use. Okay, so you put in the username field. I'll make sure that we don't have a space in there. And then the login. Each use that same. These two have to have the full account name. This one, you want to back out and put dashes in, because some of the scammers you call will literally ask you to enter the last 2 digits or last 4 digits of your caller ID, and it uses that field to know what your caller ID is. So I use denver1.voip.ms, denver1.voip.ms. There are tons of servers across the United States. And if you don't use voip.ms, you'll find many SIP providers they're called POPs, points of presence, all over the nation that you're using it in. Okay, so that one's configured right because it says it's online. And I now have 2 SIP accounts. Okay, so I'm going to take a shortcut. I'm going to go over to the SIP account, delete the config file, and then I'm going to copy and paste pre-configured dialer bots, so that way I can spend more time showing you rather than going in and programming each and every one of them. So I'm going to go into here. We're going to use script. This one here. So I'm going to copy the config file here. And now you'll see I have preset numbers here. And they each work. Well, wait a minute. Why? Oh, that's an old one. Hold on. I'm going to go grab a different one. I misspoke. Go to 11. Correct. Correct. Okay, this one's working good. Okay, see how they say, what I'm doing is just checking different accounts and making sure that they're online. Okay, the other thing that you need to do, you also need to add, and I do go in, you do see that in my guide, you want to add 2 null accounts. So you can go null, like this, add account. You have to do null because it needs to have a caller ID selector that it can start with before it goes and starts using the other numbers. You have to pay 10. You have to pay 15. You have to fund each voip.ms account with $15 to get started. But it's going to be it'll take a half of a year. I mean, unless you dial a bunch of toll numbers, you know, it's going to take a while. Okay, so I've prefigured the SIP accounts for this bot. I'm now ready to make a call. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call. I'm just going to make a quick call to Travelation. I already wrote that number down. I'm not going to actually bot them. I'm just going to make it call them. So I'm going to type the phone number, 858-256-7200. I'm going to tell it to wait 4 seconds, and I want machine 1 to dial. Okay. And one thing that I have to do, and this is in the manual, in order for the dial bot to work, it needs to be able to access its Z drive. So to do that, you'll need to go to VM Settings, Option, and Shared Folders, and enable them. There's a thing about VMware, it will literally, let me go back and look again. Make sure that settings is correct. Got to be shared folder. I need to change that location. Just work. Oh, okay, hold on. I gotta shut this down. Let me shut this down real quick. One thing I gotta do first. I made a slight mistake in my. I have a VM folder. I forgot to create that. You want to create a VM. I use a VM folder. I create it and then. I don't think it's open. It's not open. I don't know why it thinks it's open. It's not. Let me make sure I'm not running it. I don't see it running. Awkward. Yeah, it's not open. It's not running. Try again. Okay. I'm just gonna copy, paste it. Bear with me. I don't know what's going on. Windows can be screwy. On your drive, and I do show this in the inside of the manual. You want to put a VM folder and then flood inside of it. Windows won't release the call lock on that one virtual machine. I don't know what the hell's wrong with it. Okay, so I'm going to reopen the master dialer. And then I'm going to reopen the dialer one. Then I'm going to power up dialer one. I thought I moved it. Okay, we're back in business. I don't know what you mean by MS10. The actual dial button that I do describe it in the manual. The way it works, there's a thing called AutoBot on the virtual machine, and there's a thing called Watchdog. So I'm going to make sure my folders are working. Okay, so in order for the shared folders to work, you have to make sure shared folders are enabled under Option, Shared Folders, Always Enabled, and hit Apply. Still not. VM. Great. So I'm going to go VM, Settings, Option, Shared Folders. I'm going to remove this one and re-add it. I'm going to add under X, VM. Great. You're going to have to add that depending upon your drive letter because everyone has a different, will have a different drive letter. Okay. So what you want is the dialbot has to have a drive Z with scripts in there in order for it to work. That's what you need to be able to do. Okay, so let's watch it dial out and then I'll explain exactly how it works so you can understand why the folders must be available. So to make the dialer work, I always get the SIP account up. I just pick one of the null accounts. I open up voice meter and move it down here just to get it so you can see what's going on. I'm then going to tell dialbot 1 to dial teledesk or travel agent and wait 4 seconds. I just made it real simple. So I just click on dial. Let me reopen that. Oh, okay, that's why that didn't work. Okay, so sorry about that. I'm going to open up Flood-O-Matic. I'm going to put the phone number in, 858-256-7200. I'm going to wait 4 seconds, and I'm going to have the first bot dial out. So I hit dial. Oh, there's one thing I didn't do. It has to be running Watchdog. So I open up microsip, voice meter, and you have to run Watchdog. Okay, so If Watchdog is running, you'll see a little program at the bottom. And now when I tell it to dial, it should dial. And it's not dialing, of course. Why? Get something. Figures this wouldn't work when I expect it to. Good job. Okay, for some reason that's not saving the log file. Hold on. Damn. It'll work. There we go. I don't know why it didn't run. Okay, this is what it looks like when the AutoBot dials. It picks one of the numbers. I wonder why they're not answering. Are they blocking my number? 858. Oh, I did the wrong phone number. That would do it every time. Okay, so I'm going to clear it. Okay, I wrote the wrong phone number. 858 25 858 858 858 256 7200. Okay. Now what? Hey, mistress, nice having you here. Just showing off the AutoBot. So this one should answer.
Thank you for calling Travelation. To reach the next
They started yelling at it.
press.
Okay. So now watch this. Okay, so Travelation, what it does is when you call it, it wants you to type two numbers.
Thank you for calling Travelation. To reach the next available agent, please press 1-8.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it to wait 6 seconds and then listen for the word press. What that will do is it will listen for the word press and then it will press the numbers that she tells it to press. And then I'm going to tell it to wait 11 seconds. Now I'm going to dial Travelation. Hopefully it'll work. There's some of the numbers the transcriber can't pick up. So if it fails, we'll watch it again, and it probably will.
Thank you for calling Travelation. To reach the next available agent, please press 6.
That one worked.
Please hold for the next available agent. This call may be recorded for quality assurance.
Now I'll watch what happens.
Thank you for calling reservation. Dr. Kevin.
This is getting rapper than a hunk of stinking cheese on a hot and sunny day. Dangnammit.
So, ain't that cool? Yeah, no, if any of you download my bot and are having trouble, you know, you're a member of my channel. I will work with you one-on-one to get it to work.
Please press 5, 8.
So this one it'll probably get. Seems to have trouble with the number 9.
Please hold for the next available agent.
It's just totally cool.
Call may be recorded for
Um,
quality assurance.
Travelation used to be a big-time scammer. They were pretending to be Delta. And they were stealing lots of money. That's not going to do it. So you don't just keep dialing them over and over. It's a call flip. Now imagine if I had 20 virtual machines doing this.
Following Travelation,
I've done that.
reach the next available agent. Please press 2, 4.
That cool?
Please hold
Yeah, that's
for the
how.
next available agent. This
If
call
you
may
look
be
here,
recorded for quality
it says
assurance.
please press 2 and then FOR, and it screened it for the number 4.
Thank you for calling reservation. This is Dylan. How can I help you?
See? Okay, so that's that. So I'm going to stop it. While I'm at it, I might as well show you what the other ones do. Okay, some scammers literally tell you to press 1 after so many seconds. So I'm going to pretend that it wants me to press 1 after 6 seconds. So I go, first I clear that, and then I put 6, and then wait. That means wait 6, and then press 1, wait 3 seconds, and then type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The last 2 digits of my caller ID. Okay, and then wait 4 seconds and start listening for the scammer to say hello. So watch what the bot does. I'm going to hit dial. The last 2 digits of its number are 62. So it's first going to dial and wait 6 seconds. So watch the timer down there. After 6 seconds, it's going to press the 1 key.
Thank you for calling Travelation. To reach
It just pressed 1. And after 3 seconds, it's going to do the last 2 digits of its caller ID.
Thank you for calling Travelation.
So
To reach the next available agent, please press 5, 6.
So you can use this script builder. You call a number, like here's an example of what I faced once. There was a Cash App scammer. When you called them, you had to press 1 after 4 seconds. So I got my bots to wait 4 seconds, and then when they answered, the Cash App scammer would answer and my bot would yell at them. After about 3 minutes, they saw that they were being flooded, and suddenly, after pressing 1, it would then say, press the last 2 digits of your caller ID. So that's why I created this formulaic form. You could reprogram your bot to follow their directions to get through. You would not believe how upset they got at me for getting through their CAPTCHA. That's the whole purpose of these little deals down here. It helps you get through the CAPTCHAs. So anybody got any questions? Okay, now I'm going to show you how this whole thing works. I'm going to pause this virtual machine and then give you an idea of how it works. If I go over to my call flooding folder, okay, under VM, and I go into this jobs file. There's a file called phone.txt. Okay. What this does when I tell it to dial is it literally See what it did? It put a phone number on line 1. Okay. On the actual virtual machine, I'm going to reopen that file because I don't want it to dial out. It now says no. So line number 1 says no. The software that's on the virtual machine, the watchdog, is constantly watching this phone.txt, and if it sees anything for dialer 1, it knows to look on dialer 1's line 1 because it goes by its host name. It'll then say, oh my gosh, I gotta dial a phone number, and it launches DialBot. That's how that works. So if I go like this, I say wait 6, look for press, wait 11, that's the travelation, and I hit dial. If I look at that phone text file, this is what that line has. I mean, dial the number. You're going to use a holding time of 40 seconds.
To reach the next available
After 6 seconds, listen for the word press, and then enter the, like, here, this is an example of it. It just failed. See how it says please press and it just says 1? It's because the dictation IO was unable to transcribe the first digit. So basically it says dial number, use hold time of 40 seconds. After 6 seconds, listen for the word press, enter the CAPTCHA, then wait 11 seconds.
Available agent, please press 4-1.
Yeah, that should be seen. So what it's doing now is it's going to wait 11 seconds before it starts to... What it's doing is it says, okay, wait 11 seconds before you clear the transcribe pad. See, it just cleared it, and it's listening. It's looking for... If it sees words in there, it's going to start yelling. Okay. They know that I'm botting them, so they're playing cold music. So, so if I hit end, we'll see that it'll dial and they'll probably answer. Steven, you need to refresh or change the stream to 720p.
Available agent, please press 9-6.
My stream health is perfect. I'm not dropping any frames, so.
Please hold for the next available agent.
I just want to see it. I just want to see it bot them. And catch my breath. I've been talking straight for an hour now.
Thank you for calling reservation. You're speaking. Listen to me! Listen! Listen to me! Listen! Listen to
Okay,
me!
so we know
Listen!
it's working. Okay. So the way of the flow the program works. Basically, Watchdog looks for changes in x:\vm, call flood, scripts, phone, jobs, phone.txt. If Watchdog is on dialer 1, it will only look at line 1 in that text file. If it says something other than no, it will launch dialbot.exe, which is on the desktop, and that's this guy here. Dialbot.exe opens a call timer, moves it, opens microsip. If it's not open and moves it. Open voice meter and move, and it doesn't move voice meter. Actually, no, it doesn't. I don't have it move voice meter. Opens voice meter, then opens Chrome to the dictation IO site. It then calls the number and follows the coded instructions. And the coded instructions are produced with this form. So if I tell it to dial, the dial bot knows how to interpret the command set that you see here. And basically, that's the phone number it dialed. This is 40 seconds, meaning if it doesn't hear a scammer's voice within 40 seconds, it's going to hang up the call and redial. That's what that's for. This tells it after you dial, wait 6 seconds, listen for the word press, and enter the CAPTCHA, press 5, 7. After that, wait 11 seconds, and then after that, start listening for the scammer to answer. It's actually quite simple how it works. But I had to think about, solving it was the hard part. But once I solved it, it became easy. No, let me turn my Discord on. Come on, Discord, where are you? Okay, I'm opening Discord now. Oh, okay, cool. We have someone we can bot real quick, thanks to Certified. So I'm going to boot up Dialer 1, and we're going to bot this. I got to clear it. Hold on, it's trying to dial Teledesk. Okay, so I have my SIP account. Now, this is a very important part of call flooding. Don't just simply call flood a number. Test it out first. According to Certified, excuse me, we have to press 9. So I'm going to call them up. And I'm counting on my fingers.
For calling first class customer service. Please press 9 to be connected to the first available agent.
After 8 seconds, we have to press 9. Okay, Certified, are you sure that that's a tech support scam? I mean, that didn't. It said fast class. I don't want to call a business if it's legitimate. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. That's the perfect reason why you need to test the numbers out before you flood them. I do have my disclaimer at the beginning of the document. You do not want to flood a legitimate business. Okay, let me see if I can find a tech scammer real quick. I'm going to open up my pop-up finder. Archive. Start. I have to look for pop-ups off screen because some of the websites that you're going to look at have pornographic images on them. So, yeah, that number, they might be. This is what happens. A scammer goes out and gets a SIP number, they might spoof something, or they might actually get a real SIP dialer number. And if they get botted, they can forward that call to an honest business. So if you're flooding someone, you need to periodically call them to make sure it's still the scammer. Otherwise, you might inadvertently spam an innocent party. So it's important that you are aware at all times of who you're flooding. What they do is they can forward the number to any other number. This isn't called spoofing where they pretend to be Apple. Those only work when they do robocalls and it shows you that Apple called. You call that number, you're going to get Apple. But if a scammer has their own voip.ms or whatever they use, after they use it to take tech support calls, if they get flooded, they can fight back by forwarding it to another party. That's what this one did. Okay, so I didn't find any pop-ups there. It is Sunday, so we got to keep that in mind. I'm doing a quick search. Let me see if scammer.info has anything. Hard to say. These are old. Scammer Mules. Scammer Mules. It's going to take an act of Congress to do something about it. Legally, there's nothing that can be done. The way that they're using mules in its most extreme format is the scammer will find the mule on Facebook, talk them into renting rent an Airbnb for them in some major city like San Diego or Los Angeles. The scammer mule stays in that Airbnb. They get the money overnighted to them. They take 30 to 35%, and then they check out. If you could somehow get the police to go see them, it takes a week at least, often longer, before they're allowed to legally go do it. And I can tell you an Airbnb is rented for maybe one day. So if you find a mule, you can't call the cops on them because the cops are going to say, well, what's the crime? And they'll say they're expecting money. So are you sending them money? I said, no, I'm going to send them a box of magazine cutouts. He says, but that's not a crime. I said, okay, what do I do if I send the mule $1,000? And they say, yeah, that would be a crime. They're stealing money from you. But you'd have to do a police report. And that takes a week at least before they will take action on it. There's no way to get them, from what I can tell. The only way that I think we could get them is educating the public. Another way is exposing these mules on YouTube. Might make them feel scared. I don't know. I'm not finding any scammer numbers. Okay, well, if you guys find any scammer numbers, send them to me and I'll I'll demonstrate the bot on them. I'm looking in my... Paranormal, I saw your email. I require a membership in order for you to download the Autobot. I put hundreds of hours in this stuff, and I can't make it. I got to get something back for the work I put in. And even at this rate, with the few people that are going to download it, it's more of a contribution that I'm making as it is. The other thing is quality control. If I just let anybody use the Autobot and say, hey, we need to have these changes, blah, 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 I mean, it can get crazy. So that's the meaning, that's the reasoning behind it. Sounds like one of the websites I'm searching for is making music. Future versions of the Autobot Flood-O-Matic will require you to log in with your email address and your own password. Over time, we'll make it work that way. If a scammer wants you to be a mule to pick up a parcel, and if you do it, even though you're a scam baiter, you're risking your butt. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the Autobot call me, so you can hear what it sounds like to the scammer when you bot them with the Autobot. Yeah, don't be a mule. Even if you're a scam baiter, the United States will prosecute you even though you're doing it as a scam baiter. That's the way our laws work here. They might say, thank you for doing what you're doing. By the way, you're arrested. I imagine you could get permission from the authorities. Maybe they would do it. I don't know. Okay, so I'm having the Autobot dial me. Let me make sure I have my Google Voice account up. And I don't. Let me log into it. Okay, so this is what it sounds like when the Autobot Flutter calls a person. Oh, I gotta restart it. Hold on. Is that? Yeah, that should work. Dial it one. Oh, wait a minute. Dial. Okay, so the Autobot's gonna call me up. So I'm sitting here, I'm all cool. I'm getting ready to take scammer calls. Ray the scammer. Oh, goody, a call's coming in. Hi, thank you for calling Microsoft. My name's Ray. You hear that?
Oh, look at the top of his head.
Okay. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe the next call won't be a jerk with his... Oh, more money! Thank you for calling Microsoft. My name is Jake.
There is the money.
I didn't get any money.
I repeat, there you on the morning of May 8th, 1996.
Oh. Okay, so we'll do one more. Call me. All right, finally. Give me your money. Hello? Oh, it's not picking up my voicemail for some reason. No, there it is.
Is the money?
I didn't get any money.
I repeat, I owe you on the morning of May 8th, 1996.
Okay, so there's two ways to stop the bot. If you hit stop, it'll just hang up everything. It'll keep the machine checked and everything so that you can just simply dial again. If you hit clear, it takes the check marks away, and if you hit dial, all the bots will see that they're not selected and they'll hang up. Yeah, I just got an SSA number from Certified. So here we go. We got a scammer number. The first thing that you do is you need to test it first. So set yourself up with your own VoIP account on Microsip and then call them up. Yeah, I may have called them before, so I'm going to call them with on it. I thought that was working. Wow, Fred, that's a pretty harsh story. Yeah, it doesn't look like they're no longer picking up.
Thank you for calling. This is Kevin Walker from Social Security Administration, Legal and Investigation Department. Right now I am not available at my desk, so please leave a message after beep and I will give you a call as soon as possible. Thank you.
Hi, I'm calling because there's something going on with my Social Security. Could you give me a call? Thanks for telling me I was muted. I forgot. I gotta get back to the tutorial here. Okay, so that number, it worked once or twice for Certified, but it's not working anymore. I'm gonna pause my pop-up finder. Okay, so back to programming the bots. So basically, you want to set up 6 VoIP accounts through Microsip for the first AutoBot, and then the next thing you do is you're going to go back to the master dialer. You're going to go to Manage and Clone, a full clone, and call it Dialer 2. And you're going to want to drop it into the same folder where your call footer is. Okay? And you have to go back and tell it to use this folder name like this. And what happened C. Check the X VM right there. I didn't do it right. Let me delete I gotta delete that VM. And then delete from this. Let me try that one more time. It's master dialer VM manage clone full clone dialer 2. Gonna put it where your other dialers are, which is right here, into a folder called dialer 2. What you should see is a dialer 2 folder being created. I'll show you that momentarily, Walter. After you create your clone, you have to power it up. And you have to change its host name. Or computer name is another term for that. And you do that by opening up folder view, right-click computer, property, advanced system setting, computer name, change it. Because you're cloning the master dialer, it's going to say dialer 0. You just need to change it to the next number, dialer 2. It'll yell at you, and you restart it. The way that VoIP or SIP providers work, many of them will force you to buy a number, but voip.ms will let you create what are called sub-accounts, and you have the freedom of giving it a caller ID of your choice. And I have some thoughts on how you can come up with caller IDs that are safe to use. There are different costs associated. If you buy numbers, you have to pay a monthly fee. Okay, Certified found another number. We might try botting them. Okay, so here's DialBot 2. The next thing that you have to do is make sure that it has access to the scripts folder, and you can see that it doesn't. So I'm going to go back to the setting and go to shared folders, enable. I'm going to basically make sure you just basically browse through to the root of your folder where the scripts folder is. Click on scripts and hit OK. And now you can get in there. Once it has access to the scripts folder, you're then ready to program the SIP account by adding accounts. I'm going to make a shortcut. I'm going to go in and give it the configuration of my existing SIPs. So I'm going to go in here. Scripts 11. Paste that in here. Once you've configured your SIP accounts, it's real easy to It's real easy to maintain the configurations. I'll show you how that's done. There's lots of scammers, Stephen. There's too many of them to be able to, there's too many scam baiters for them to get to know. Some of them recognize Mary right away. I mean, that's just a part of it. Ismail, he gets recognized a lot. Most scam baiters go through a period where they have to change their voice in order to do scam baiting. That's just happened. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remember, it's more than just having numbers. You also have to add null entries. The AutoBot script likes to select the null caller ID at its resting point. It helps it maintain a clean configuration. So I'm going to add another one called null. So you want to have two of them. Okay, so we have dialer 1 and dialer 2. And then before this machine can run, you have to run watchdog. So watchdog is running. And what I do is, when I'm done botting, I don't shut down the virtual machines. I make sure that they're using a null entry for their caller ID. I make sure that watchdog is running, and I make sure that voice meter, this one didn't have voice meter, so I'm going to resume it. I'm going to open voice meter. After it starts up, I'm going to make sure it plays sound, and it does. And then I'm going to pause it. Okay, so we have two. We now can dial out with two dial bots. Before we can use them, we have to wake them up. So I'm going to wake up 1. I'm going to wake up 2. And then I have another number that Certified just gave me. So we're going to call them. Make sure you call before you flood.
Thanks for calling support. How may I help you?
Hi, I have a message on my screen that's telling me that I got suspicious movement.
Oh, so what kind of message? Like some suspicious activity or something?
Yeah, suspicious activity.
Okay, can you tell me your first name?
First name, my first name is Jason, last name is Jackson.
Okay, and that's warning which you're getting. So you're getting in your phone, in your cell phone?
Yes, on my, well no, it's on my computer.
Okay. And right now, are you in front of a computer right now?
Available you on the morning of...
You're asking me if I'm in front of my computer?
Yes. I'm listening. Pick up. I know that. I know that. I know that. I know that.
What do you know?
I'm
What do
saying
you
that
know?
you forgot to take your medicine. I know that you forgot to take your medicine today.
My medicine? What do you mean?
Please don't have your medicine.
I'm gonna harass you with phone calls.
Don't waste your time, man.
Why?
I'm feeling boring.
You're stillborn? That's gross, dude. You're stillborn?
I'm full.
You're so stupid that when you heard it was chilly outside, you ran and got a bowl and spoon. I'm not saying that you're stupid, just that you have a lot of bad luck when you're thinking. If you were... Okay, Okay, there he is. Okay, he finally hung up. Okay. I don't know why my resonance stopped working. I was trying to play my resonance player and it just didn't work. Let me look to see. It should have. Yeah, that's not. I don't know why it would stop. I'm running it on the right outputs.
Hello.
The AutoBot's getting him right now. Tech 2's got a busy signal for some reason.
Hello.
Oh, you know, I moved those folders. That's what. Now my train works though. Okay. Now I know it's in. I moved my folders over. That's why I can't play those sound effects. Anyways, that's how you use the call flitter. Right now I have both dialers are calling them. So what I can do, if I want two to hang up, I just uncheck it and then click dial and two hangs up. And then I decide, okay, well I think two should get back into action. I'll reselect two and hit dial and it will start dialing again. He's cussing at the bot. Okay, so looks like this got lowered. Okay, so another example. If you decide you want to hang up and wait a couple of minutes and then resume your ScamBait, what you do is you hit the stop button. All your machines will hang up, just like this. Oh, this one locked up for some reason. Okay, no, it's back to normal. They'll hang up and then wait 2 minutes and then hit dial again, and they'll start dialing again. Okay. It sounded like it was only one guy answering. Maybe not. Okay, so now that I've shown you how easy it is, if I want to add a third bot, okay, I want to add number 3. I just go back to my master dialer. I go to VM, manage, clone, a full clone. Don't do linked clones. If you do a linked clone, they're smaller at the beginning, but they will become bigger over time, and they go slower because they all share the same boot operating system. I'm going to call this one dialer 3. I'm going to browse and put it into the folder where my other dialers are. I'll call it dialer 3. That have located scammers and paid a local person to cut their phone line. I guess if they know someone in India that would do that, that could be possible. They would have to know people who live in India, Stephen. to do that. My channel's slowly getting to know several people in India that might be working, but not in that capacity. I don't. Because a lot of the scammers are using wireless to connect, so there's no wire to cut. I mean, so are they like taking out the neighborhood Wi-Fi router? Okay, so I've cloned 3. I need to change its host name so that it can take the dialing command. So I go back over to computer name, change it from dialer 0 to dialer 3. And then restart. Then all that's left is to configure its SIP accounts, and it's ready to be part of the AutoBot, your little AutoBot army that you got running. So, like I did for the other ones, I put a shortcut to the SIP configuration on the machine to open it up, and then I'm gonna go grab an existing SIP config that I use. There, copy, and then I'll step you through the creation of the SIP account again, just so you fully understand it. So now when I open this micro SIP, I have 6 numbers here. I'm going to go ahead and add null. Whoops. Add another null account. And then all that's left is run watchdog. It looks like they have a call order. Oh wait, no, I made a mistake. I gotta exit. If you start seeing it going haphazard, right click the watchdog and tell it to exit. It'll stop misbehaving. In addition to doing the SIP account, you gotta make sure that it has access to the shared directory. Every time you clone the machine, you're gonna have to go back into settings, go to options and shared folders, enable it. All right, and then you don't have to remove it. You can just go to properties and then change the path. And you just want to browse to the scripts folder. That's what you're sharing. You'll know it's working if the machine can see the script folder. So once you have that in place, make sure Watchdog is running. And then it's a good idea to open an animator and move it down here. And now I can tell bots 1, 2, and 3 to dial that pesky scammer up. So now I have 3 bots running. See? Real easy. Yeah, I just became a member of ScamBait Central yesterday. The dude's hilarious. He calls up Nigerian African scammers. Okay. So see, he's so used to being botted, they only say hello. Yeah, no, I've been meaning to check him out, so I'll be a regular viewer. See, they're just saying hello. Okay, so if I want to jerk around with the scammer, I'll hit stop and then redial just to keep calling them over and over. Other things that you can do, if they recognize the caller ID, you can quickly get it to redial by clicking on end call, and then it will dial with the next caller ID. So I might tell dialer 2, and then dialer 3, or 1, I mean. Hey, Oliver. Does anybody have any questions so far? So they're not answering me anymore, so I'm going to clear and hit dial to hang them up. So far we've created 3 dialer bots. Let me check my email to see if we have. Now I do have good detail in my manual. Let me go back to the manual. Starts off with a description of the main components. Tells you how to set up the Flutter. You download it here. Email me and I'll give you a password to unlock the archive. And then it recommends using this directory structure. Yeah, I use voip.ms. That's this company here. voip.ms. Let me show you how a sub account is set up. So I'm going to log out, and I'm going to log in with an account that I deleted all my sub accounts on, just for the purpose of showing you that. I did it again. Okay, so let's try that, and then I recently changed the password. Okay, it's not that, then it's this. Okay. Okay, I don't want to lock my account out. DEB. I don't tell my password to you guys. It's not that one, it's got to be the other one. I got in barely. The most successful operating system? The most successful operating system is Microsoft Windows. Linux close behind. Okay, so as you can see, I don't have any sub accounts on this voip.ms account. I have no sub account, so I got to create one. So I'm going to go to sub account. I created an account at voip.ms. You want to sign up with my referral code that I'll send to you in the password email. Let me get that referral code real quick. Where is it? I thought I put it in the stream. I should have. Yeah, there it is. Or wait a minute. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So I'm going to paste the. The reason why you want to use the referral codes is when you use them, you get a $10 voip.ms credit. Okay. So that link there, if you sign up with that link I just put in, when you fund your account $10 will be automatically added, so you'll have a $25 account at voip.ms. And then I'm going to show you something here on the screen. After you've created your voip.ms account, if you want to create another voip.ms account, go to Finances, Referral Program, and click on your own referral link and create a new voip.ms account and give yourself a $10 free credit. So every time you create a voip.ms account, you get an invite link. You can use your own invite link to create your next voip.ms account, and just a smart thing to do, because then you can have free credits. Yeah, I'll show you Telnex in a moment. Okay, so on the voip.ms account, okay, let me reopen that. There we go. Okay, so once you have voip.ms, just get to know what it looks like. Right now, I have $14 in my balance. I told it to give me a $10 balance alert threshold, so I get an email if the balance goes below $10. At voip.ms, you can get reports on your calls, like call detail records. I haven't done much calling on this account, so I'm going to log into one of my other voip.ms accounts. Let me see which one would be a good one. That way you can see how much it costs. It doesn't cost that much. Certified told me that Telnex is actually cheaper, so it's something to consider. I have yet to really. I use Telnex mostly if I want to bait UK scammer, because Telnex has points of presence all over the world. Okay, so I'm going to log into Mary Shoe. Mary Shoe Huckers has a voip.ms account. So maryshoehuckers@gmail.com. Okay, so if you go to call detail records, you can see the report. Maybe my date's wrong. So I'm going to go back to the month of January to February and search. Not sure what I'm doing wrong. Should have call record. Yeah, call detail record. I know I've been using bots 3 and 4. I mean, 6522 should be the sub account. I'm going to go into sub account. Yes, 522. Oh, sub account report maybe? Go back to January. No, that didn't do it. Oh, I see. I got to go January and click the 1. Okay, now I can show it. Okay, go back to call detail record. Let me go back here first. Call detail record. And then we're going to look for January 1. and search. I should have. There we go. These are my call D records for the month of January. There's 275 pages. I'm going to tell it to show 100 entries. Okay, so these my AutoBot calls are costing me 0.002 cents per call. So as you can see, it's not very expensive at all. To give you an idea, after about 6 months, I have to fund each account $10 or $15. So for me, I only bought with lately I've only used 10 dialers, so I'm only actively using 5 voip.ms accounts. So I'm paying about every 6 months. I pay 5 times 15, which is $60, I think. Yeah, 5 times or what's 5 times 15? I'll Google it. Google 5 times 15. Yeah, $60, $75. So I pay about $75, $150 a year for my botting. Okay, so back to the sub account, and I'll show the telnets here shortly. Let me log out. Okay, so I'm gonna log out. I'm gonna log back in. Is this guy? Oh, come on. I can't remember my passwords. Okay, so when you first start out, you're not going to have any sub accounts. What you do is go to sub account, create a sub account, and at voip.ms it'll have a blank number here until you figure out which caller ID you're going to use. So I'm going to say use a custom caller ID, and I'm going to type out 385-202-1212. I'm not going to use this number, but I'm just showing you. You give it a caller ID, and then you have to give it a password. Okay. For our use, we're using an ATI iPhone or soft phone, a custom caller ID, and then you want to go down to the international route and choose value. You might want to, and then for international calls, you want to make sure that, like, allow international calls. Okay, these are, yeah, you want to leave most of these the same. Just change those to value. And then that's all you really need to do. Then you just create the account. Oh, okay, for the username, looks like you have to, I didn't realize, it's been a while since I've set these up. For the username, I just make it easy. Use the same as your caller ID. That just makes things real simple. Yeah, you can actually tell it to use a PBX to dial out instead too, but anyways, once you've created the sub account, if you look into manage sub account, you'll see I now have a sub account. So in Microsep, if I want to use that sub account, okay, let me open up my oh, there it is. Okay, so in Microsep, if I want to use that account, I go to add account. I then copy the username. I put it into the account name, copy it to username, and login. I like to maintain whatever you put up there under that account name is what you'll see in the number entry. And it's just a good idea to use the caller ID. For the SIP server, I use denver1.voip.ms. And then the password I used for that account. And it's ready to roll. I just added it. It appeared right there. So I can dial out now. That's all there is to it. It's a lot of work. If you want to have six Autobots and you're using voip.ms, you will need to have 3 voip.ms accounts. You can request more outgoing simultaneous numbers to through the support at voip.ms, but I have a feeling the more people that ask, the more they're going to start to suspect we're call flooding. So I'm going to stick with just the 2. At voip.ms, if you try to dial out from 3 different sub-accounts to the same number, the third one will get not available because they restrict you to just 2 calls at the same time per account. Oh yeah, all the time. What I do is I have, see how it says cousin Mary Sue, cousin Ray, and Emily Wu? This is using a voip.ms to dial out, but I have the caller ID match my Google Voice number so that they can actually call me back. So there's a lot of strategy I use in divvying up how I use my numbers. Okay, so you don't have to use voip.ms. You can actually use Telnex. And I might actually move over to them. This is Telnex. I'm going to go ahead and log in. I've set 2-factor up on Telnex because, and you really should be doing, I thought I had the word, man, I'm really bad with passwords today, aren't I? I'm going to have to do the forgot password. Okay, let me check, let me do that. I want to show you the Telnex because it's worthwhile. Well, yeah, Telnex could be cheaper. It's I've yet to really. Okay, so I'm gonna reset my password. Okay, do. I'm gonna type it out and paste it. I'm tired of passwords. Okay, so now I've set it. Okay, gotta do my zip code. Use 2-factor when you can, because especially if you're gonna flood, because a scammer would love to disrupt your ability to AutoBot. Okay, so Telnex is a different ball of wax. It's very similar if you look at my Telnex accounts, these are all these UK accounts. If I go into here and do edit account, it's still the same base stuff. You have a SIP account, a SIP address you have to put in to talk to it. You have to give it an account name, and then there's a username and password for each. So if I look at 97706, I go to my SIP connection, and there's one called 97706. I have a lot. It's probably the last ones, 97706. There it is right there. So this is the SIP account. SIP 61 is what it's called. And see how I called it UK 61? And what I've done is the SIP connections. If I edit that, it's got my account and password. Outbound, I put it in. I say I have this UK number. Actually, Australia. This is when I was flooding Testra or whatever they call themselves, the Australian cable internet. Anyways, it's very similar to voip.ms. It's a little different in the way that you have to have outbound voice profiles. So I have a total of 11 voice profiles and one in there. Now, what you do, you have to create a voice profile before you can set up a SIP account, because a SIP connection is bound to a profile. So if you look here, see this UK SIP 1? In order for it to work, it has to have an outbound profile. So it's just a matter of learning how their setup works. So you create your what you can do is create your outbound profile, add a new profile, give it a name, profile. Then you have to pick various billing method, the regions that you want to cover. Like I want to be able to call North America, but puts North America here. I want to call Europe. I want to be able to call, North Africa, I guess. Then you save it. So now I have a new thing called profile. Then I go back over to SIP connection. I'm going to add a SIP connection. I'll call this Ray New SIP. Ray New SIP. And then it's going to be credentials based. Been a while since I've done this. Okay, there's Ray's New SIP. And I think if I go to profile, edit, I don't know if I add the SIP to it, add connection. Yeah. So I'm going to add a connection, Ray's New SIP. Okay, so once that SIP has been added to an outbound profile, you can then use it to dial out. Yeah, Telnex is all over the place. At voip.ms, if you want to see where they do have, let's see, in their support, somewhere in here they have a place which shows you all the a huge list. You just want to choose one that's where you're located. I don't know. There's somewhere Telnix is really cool. I mean, the reason is, let me tell you what I've done. With my UK numbers, each one of these UK SIPs, I went and picked a city in the UK, and when I make calls to a scammer, it looks like I'm dialing from that city. You can also choose one in Sydney, Australia. They have a point of presence there. It's really cool. Okay, I'm just catching up on chat. But anyways, that there's really not much. Setting up SIP accounts at Telnix and voip.ms really aren't that different, but you have to get accustomed to it. Certified says that Telnix is cheaper, so I don't know. voip.ms is cheap to begin with, so I just have experience mostly with it. But I have done some UK botting using Telnix, and it's a great VoIP provider. I've never had problems with Telnix. So as you can see here, I can keep going. I can keep adding. I go VM, manage, clone, full clone. I'm going to call this dialer 4. I need to browse to where my machines are. And then make sure that it has its own subfolder. And I'm well underway of creating a 4th dialer. See you later, Steven. So, machine 4 is pretty much ready. I just boot it up. How many outbound calls does Telnix allow on Certified? Okay, so after you boot up the new machine, you have to rename its host name to be the right dialer number. Dialer 4. It'll then restart. Yeah, I mean, if so they allow 20 simultaneous calls to the same number? That's something to think about. I'm not settled on voip.ms. I'm already set up on Telnix. I can go that route too. And it didn't cost that much? I mean, how much did it cost? Okay, so after you've changed the host name, you then need to make sure that it can access the scripts directory, which this one won't. So you go to VM, setting, go to the shared folders, tell it always enabled, and then make sure that path is the correct path. You just have to find the scripts folder where your dial bots are. Okay, so once it can see scripts, you're in good shape there. Next, you need to configure your SIP account because you won't have any. So I'm going to simulate that by copying dialer 14 SIP setting. Now I should have SIP account. Make sure you add, and it's required for my script to run properly. You need to have 2 null accounts. It uses null as temporary placeholders while it's doing its dialing. Okay, then to get the bot ready, you need to run watchdog. You'll see watchdog is running down by your clock. Run it again, I paused it on accident. And run voice meter, and position voice meter so that it's not in the center of the screen. So now I have 4 bots that can dial. And there she goes. Now keep in mind, now we have 4 calls going out. That sounds to me like one of them screaming for some reason. I get that every now and then. I think the hardest thing on running this is learning the SIP account setup. Everything else is just, it's real basic. Let me show you how that works. So, when each bot, when the scammers answer the phone, each bot looks into the Z drive under scripts. There's a loops folder and sound effects. And what the dialbot does is it reads that directory and picks a random sound like boat. But it plays it with auto IT. That's why you don't see VLC media player pull up. Here's another one. So that's how it knows. So what it does is it looks at the loops, the sound effects folder, and picks one of 83, a random sound to play. So on my side, if I want to add a new sound, I just go to the drive where the bots exist, and I go into scripts, loops, I go to scripts, loops, sound effects, and I just drag a new, I don't know why that's slugging out, that's really slow. I just drag a new MP3 file in there and it becomes part of its sound library. Pretty basic. So the thing that's important is make sure you know I'm on the wrong one. The big one, know the structure of your virtual machines. You have a folder. Each of your dialers have their own separate folder. There's a scripts folder that contains the phone text, which is used to tell that machine what number to dial. Right now they all say no. There's a loops folder with sound effects. That's where it gets its sound. If you look at it from the virtual machine's perspective, it sees it as drive Z. It sees scripts. This is where it gets its dialing instruction. And this is where it gets the sound effects it needs to play. Okay? Yeah, not everybody out there is going to want to do call flooding. the reason why I call flood and the reason why certified call floods is while I call the scammers, and you've seen me do it on stream, I tell my robots to call them up and get their number disconnected while I'm wasting one of the scammers' time. In the background, I'm actually harassing the scammers so that they disconnect their phone number. The big value behind that is I'm preventing untold number of victims from even calling. The other thing that I use my flooding for are for robocalls. So when I get a robocall on my phone, I immediately start botting it. People out in the real world who get the robocall and press 1 will get it, all circuits are busy. And as far as other streams that I'll be having, as a channel member, I will be showing people how to do auto IT programming. Like I did a quick example this morning. Like here's a quick, easy one. Like here's my microsip window. Watch this. The name of this window is called microsip. I can go over here and look at it, microsip. So I can say when move micro sip 0, 0, 300, 200. File, save as, window move. You have to save it before you can play it. So when I run the script, see how it moved the Microsoft window to those coordinates? Isn't that cool? I can tell it to move it to 400, 0. And when I run the script, it moved it to 400. I can tell it to move to 380. And now to move down. That's cool, Sean. Yeah, like I said, flooding isn't for everybody. I do have, at some point, I'm going to release another Floodomatic called the AutoBot Army. And the way that works is you just need to download the virtual machine. And when I start my stream, you just fire up your virtual machine and I'll remotely send commands to have your virtual machine dial up and yell at the scammers. If I can get enough people interested in that part of my show, I can literally have hundreds and hundreds of people help me flood. All they got to do is download my virtual machine, turn it on, and slide a switch saying, yes, I'd like to participate. Then I will tell your machine to dial out. Okay, so as you can imagine, we get a big scammer. I might send one number to 10 machines. I might send another number to a bunch of other machines. We finally crash the scammer, and then I'll hit a different version of my hallelujah, and on your machine it will play fireworks, and we'll all cheer. So that's my actual goal. But I wanted to give my members the ability to do what I do, which is why I created the Floodomatic and created a manual and did this live stream so that you can do some live stream, some botting. But my ultimate goal is to literally say, hey, you want to take part in my flooding? Download this virtual machine, and when I start my stream, just fire it up and slide the switch to on, and you can join in without having to really do anything. You just have to be a part of it. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Because could you imagine, let me show you a different Floodomatic that I have. I think I still have it. Let me go and look for it. So bot. No, it's not there. Imagine a Flood-O-Matic with like 500 checkboxes. I might be running something like that. Yeah, no, I like I said, it'll be real easy to do. I've run experiments. I have a cloud server that can control the AutoBot machine, so I just need to make changes to the SQL database, and then your machine, once you turn your machine on, it'll know to look for instructions off of the cloud server, and it says, oh, I got to dial this number, and then your machine will automatically just dial up. On one of the scammer PCs that I backdoored, when I was tired of just spying on them, before I released them, I made it say busted, wasted on his machine with the sound effect. It was funny. So anyways, that's about all I have to show today, folks. If you want to use the call flutter, just download from the links and then email me. I'll verify your channel membership. You just have to be a basic member of my YouTube channel or a subscriber to my Twitch channel, and I'll give you the password to unlock the AutoBot Flutter. And then for my AutoBot army, which I should have running in a couple of months, it'll be very similar. But to be on the AutoBot army, you got to be a member of the ScamBait squad on YouTube, and then on Twitch, we're thinking the Tier 2 subscription. But the AutoBot army is it's similar, but it's quite different. You just basically download one virtual machine, and then or two. You can clone them and have 3 if you want. But instead of you doing the flooding, I will issue the commands remotely, and you can join in on it, and we can work as a team to crash these scammer systems. So, yeah, there is even scam baiting, calling up a company to waste their time is actually illegal. So, but it would require that India sue me. They would have to. The scammers would have to go to their authorities and say, you know, we're trying to run scams on people, but this jerk named Ray, who runs a YouTube channel, keeps calling me with his AutoBot, and they're gonna say, okay, well, what do you want to do? I'm trying to commit a crime here, and they're preventing me. And the other thing you should do too, keep a record. If you can keep a record of who you're flooding, that's always a good idea. I always keep the screenshot of my scammers that I flood out. The robocalls I flood, I'm gonna start keeping the recordings, I guess, just to have. But I've been scam baiting now for just now for 4 years. I've been flooding scammers for a little over a year. Right now, if I go into my, or Certified's probably going to break my record if he hasn't already. If I go into here and then so far my bot in 2020 over a 4-month period, I got 19,246 scammers terrorized. Today for 2020, I'm not doing as many because I was live streaming every day, and that's not easy running a live stream and bot at the same time. It took a lot of practice for me. So I've gotten 7,102 since the beginning of the year. So yeah, well, I like to keep a record. Right now, if you look at and it's certified, his totals are even way higher, I think. Certified, I turned him onto my AutoBot, and he went nuts. He's botting like crazy. I think it's awesome. There's nothing that makes me feel so much better than being a channel that not only supports the idea of other people scam baiting. I go to the trouble of helping you scam bait, give you the tools. And when I saw like certified, when he started doing the botting, I was like going, holy crap. I mean, that's awesome. I feel very proud to be a part of that. And like with Graham scam baits, I helped her start, and then when she started off with a machine that her kids gave her, but I still helped her install the ScamBait VM, and it barely could run on it, so she ended up getting a built machine to do her scam baiting. So it just feels good being a part of helping someone become a scam baiter. And coming soon, in a week, I'm going to have my new studio. I'm then going to introduce, it's probably going to be Tuesdays and, maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays. During my lunch break, I'm going to have guest streams, and I have 5 people that I'm going to host on my guest streams. 3 of them want to become regular scam baiters. So, I mean, it'd be cool. I mean, to know that I've helped multiple people get into doing this. It's awesome. And it's needed. We need more scam baiters. I don't care if you hear other channels say there's too many scam baiters. That ain't true. Where there's not enough. As long as these scammers are able to get to people and steal money, there's a need for a scam baiter. Trust me. So just don't let other channels make you think you can't scam bait. It's not true. One of the things I put in my stream is it's called #WeAreAllScamBaiters. There's a channel out there that makes the same claim, but he complains that there's too many scam baiters. I'm like, dude, stop using that hashtag. You don't believe in what you're hashtagging, so stop. But I use the hashtag we are all scam baiters. So, I mean, $27 on 2.4. I've created a monster. Certified as an AutoBot flutter monster. Okay, folks, that's my stream for today. I just wanted to introduce you to how to configure the AutoBot. I'll probably have another one just as a recap, but you can always rewatch this stream, and then you could also read the manual. I know I'll be improving the manual as we go along. It does tell you what you need, and I might have some demonstration videos that we put on. Okay, folks, have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. for my YouTube stream. I'm gonna continue. I just stream YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, and I'm gonna stream on Twitch at the same time Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm going to continue that path. Saturday and Sunday I'll use to do stuff like manuals and creating membership content, as well as my Meet the Huckers cartoon. So, anyways, you guys take care. I love having you on my team. And let's plan on keeping on and doing even more, okay? Take care.